Can you state your name and your occupation?
My name is Ricardo Green, aka Ricky Rain, the Burning Sands man.
Where were you raised?
Monroe, Louisiana. Partly Louisiana, part in Houston, Texas.
Could you tell me a little bit about the areas you were raised in?
The areas I was raised in, country in Louisiana and city, Houston. Very peaceful and quiet back home in Louisiana, but here it was way faster, way more urban, way more neighbors, I should say.
What do you remember about your childhood?
My childhood, it was thug life, definitely. I'm kidding. It was fun. It was weird. It was like, a lot going on. My dad was really heavy into music, so I was always messing with his turntables, and I played a lot of instruments. I started to pick them up at a young age. So childhood, I just remember being very active and always being interested in anything that has something to do with music.
Did your parents discuss race or racism with you?
No. I don't think we ever had that talk or ever really had to have that talk unless there was like some kind of incident where I didn't really get what was going on. So then they would sit me down and say, well, in life, sometimes you're going to have things happen to you and you're not going to understand why. And till you're old enough to get it, this is what it's going to be like. But no, they never really had that conversation because I don't think we had to have it, especially like in Louisiana, because I didn't even realize what race I was, like until we moved here. I didn't even really get, the mix, because we all kind of just worked together. It wasn't a big deal. It was just, kids running around having fun.
What kind of interactions did you have with people not of your racial background?
Oh, interactions, everything, man. I played ball with, people, we had fun. Anything, what kids do. We didn't really care about your skin color. I think that's the way. I think that's the way most, African Americans grow up anyway. We don't really know anything about race. We don't know anything about race until someone points it out to say, oh, well, I can't play with you. My parents said this or whatever. But to us, it didn't matter, man. If we was trying to play football and we needed another man, you an able body, we need you on the field. So that was pretty much it, man.
What made you choose Texas Southern?
Texas Southern? Texas Southern was not my first choice. From when I found out after about a couple of weeks at Texas Southern was not most people's choices as their first institute, but the cool thing about it was we all ended up there, and it was kind of cool to see everybody every year still sticking with it and growing. But TSU, man, I actually ended up, I always wanted to go to Harvard. I always wanted to go to NYU. Broadcasting, communications, film, everything in that area is what I was interested in. And, out-of-state tuition was so expensive, and he kind of forced me to look at what was going on here locally. So I think a friend of mine actually, her dad, actually the way it happened was in high school, she was a transfer student, a friend of mine, she was like, she knew I was into music and playing all these instruments, and she was like, oh my gosh, you need to go and join my dad's band. And I was like, what do you mean your dad's band? Like, I'm thinking some kind of garage band or something, but it was actually, when she said her dad's band, she meant an actual band. Like, we ended up coming to Texas Southern. I got to see, the Ocean of Soul practice, and I was like, what kind of band is this? Like, man, I was just blown away. My high school was mostly corps style, military style type of marching to an extent, and we didn't play that type of music that the Ocean plays. We definitely didn't look like that on the field. So, man, I was like, hey, I think I want to give this a shot. The winning move for me was coming to check out the Ocean before I got here, definitely.
What did you study?
I originally I signed up for music education. I took a lot of theory classes, a lot of applied courses for instrument training. So I learned piano, flute, clarinet, trombone, percussion. I wanted to learn, I wanted to start kind of learning how to read the music because I could already play by ear, but I wanted to, get more into actually mastering the instruments. And I think after a couple of years of doing nothing but music, I felt kind of burnt out. I felt like most of the stuff I was learning, I kind of already knew. Not to, down the people that stuck with it, but I kind of felt like I wanted more for my money. So I ended up transferring to changing my major to radio, television, and film production. And, it was just, every day was something new. Every day was awesome. Every day was learning new things, man. So it was definitely an even mix that I had. So I made music my minor, and I ended up making radio and television my major.
Who would you say were important teachers you met at TSU, and what did they do?
Important teachers were definitely going to be Dr. Ulassi, Dr. Poudet, of course, band director Prof. Lee. Those individuals, there's a certain way that you can lead by example, and they definitely did it. If there was something that was due, a project or something, or anything, that assignment they were given, they kind of showed you, all right, this is what I need you to do, but that's it. They didn't baby you. They let you, you learned it on your own, and you figured out, if somebody's going to do it for you, then how are you ever going to be able to do it on your own? So, they helped me out tremendously. Everything from creating a video concept, drawing the treatment out, getting all your products and resources in line, arranging schedules, getting your crew and your staff and your extras and everybody, shooting, editing, anything like that. And on the music side, I learned so much about the history of just our music that I've never experienced. There's songs today I never knew those songs until I got to the ocean, until I got to Texas Southern, and then they just blew my mind. I was so interested in every original piece. I was just like, feed me more. The more stuff I found out, the more I loved it.
Were there any significant moments in U.S. history that you recall experiencing while at TSU?
First black president, definitely. That was the best thing. That's probably going to be the most memorable thing I remember, besides playing at the Super Bowl and seeing Janet Jackson up close. That was, that was awesome. But first black president, definitely. That changed history for me, for life, forever. Sky's the limit now. No excuses.
Do you think HBCUs are important?
HBCUs are more than important. They're necessary. They are, they should be almost a requirement for, a young African American in this country, because you learn so much about your history and so much about your past that this is, my experience. It opened my eyes to another level. And then when you get to, network and meet other students from all over the country, from their respective HBCUs, and then everybody has kind of like this, this unspoken respect for each other. It's just, it's something you can't match. And then on top of that, to just say the history and the foundation behind an HBCU, and the fact that, I always wanted to go to NYU, or I always was interested in going to an Ivy League like Harvard or something. But, these schools we weren't even allowed to attend. So, you go and you give your efforts to them, and it's great. You get a job with them, and it's great. I'm not down to people that actually went down that road, but why not make Texas Southern great? Why not make Grambling or Southern or Jackson or Howard? Why not make them great? So, they're definitely necessary, because the training that we get at an HBCU, you can't match that. You will not get that anywhere else but an HBCU.
Describe the campus then compared to what it is now.
The campus then as what it is now. Campus then, when I went, it was packed. It was packed all day long. People everywhere. Again, I never experienced anything like that before. So when I got there, I had to stop gawking and focus on my, my books and my studies and everything. But in the middle of the day, you would just see, anything could happen on the yard. you can see a live step show in 5 minutes. It just happened that quick. I mean, and now when I go back, it kind of hurt a little bit because going to TSU and then, you know, we had the trees and the campus life and people handing out flyers to whatever, you know, it was always something going on. And then I kind of went around a few times and I didn't see like any of that. There was no like camaraderie or anything. It was just kind of like, you know, people were just wandering. It wasn't even really packed, but then I think now that I go around, I see more decorations, I see more people putting more spirit back into university, and that's what it needs really, because most of it, you know, is all designed for you to feel like a family, feel like this is what you're a part of. It's Texas Southern for life. That's what it is.
All right, thank you.
No problem. TSU, Ricky Rain, the Burning Sands, man, y'all make sure y'all follow me.